Okay, so here we are in the game. Alright. Glad we've not had any tech issues this stream. If you've been following any of the previous matches in the tournament, we did have some connection issues for some of them, but that doesn't appear to be happening today. So, in the bottom we've got the blue Celts, that's Adney, and at the top we have Persia, played by Lemmings. So both players are going to get their food storehouses here, and this is a really intense war map. You can see the water takes up most of the map, and if you have some triremes on the edges here, then it can make it really hard to move units around. And there's also a ton of fish to get, so it's really important to fight for the water here. But as I say that, Adney's actually going for a really early barracks. So opting only to get one storehouse and then a really fast barracks. And this might be early enough to catch any dock that Lemmings tries to put down prematurely. We'll have a look at his viewpoint right now. He doesn't see anything, so he has no idea this is coming. So the later he scouts this, the more likely it is that Adney is going to be able to do some damage and maybe even prevent a dock from going down, which would be really, really good. Okay, so Lemmings is coming around with his scout just as his barracks finishes. So there's probably going to only be about one spearman on the map when he scouts it, but that's still later than you want to scout this thing. So the first spearman's on its way right now, and the scout's going to come into the base. Lemmings here with... actually not sure what Lemmings is doing. Oh, he just went fast each minute. Never mind. Don't notice that. Looks like he's just going to get the dock up while aging up, and these spearmen will definitely arrive in time to stop that. I think. It depends if Adney goes straight there, I guess. And yeah, Lemmings isn't quite ready to get this dock started just yet. If he was starting it right now, might be some chance, but with that wait that he had to do there to get the 150 wood, he might he's gonna have some trouble here if Adney actually goes straight to it, which he does, and this dock is almost certainly not gonna finish. Just going straight for the villager, no reason to attack the dock yet, and the villager runs away, but these Celt spearmen are faster, so they're gonna take it down. And he's actually... oh, is he sending in our villager? No, he doesn't. He's just surrendering it here. And, yeah, so Adney's unexpected spearmen are giving him a real leg up in this game. So we're seeing two villagers building this barracks here, but it's not going to be quite fast enough to prevent even more damage coming in for Adney. He's doing a really good job of basically preventing any of Lemmings' villagers from being able to actually gather anything. And it looks like his follow-up to this will be getting his houses going age 2, and probably he'll be actually putting down a dock. Interestingly, Lemmings' dock is actually still on the map, so Adney decided not to take a few seconds to kill this. So if Lemmings can get rid of these spearmen from his base, maybe get a few spar bar out to fight them, he might actually be able to finish this dock. Not without losing quite a lot of resources for these storehouses and some gathering time. Definitely a really cost-effective attack from Adney. But a bit of a blunder there for letting this this dock go up for Lemmings, and that might actually get him right back in the game. Let's have a look at this base here. Actually, we're not seeing any transition here. We're just seeing more spearmen coming out for Adney. He does have enough wood to put down a dock, but he doesn't actually seem to be interested in doing that just yet. A lot of spearmen coming in now. You can see we've got 5 on this side and 4 on this side. So if they can split the defense here, can do some damage. Not too effective so far, losing 1 spearman. These spearmen do not do well under TC fire. They only have, I think, 150 health. Yeah, which is the lowest of any spearman. If you look by comparison, Sparabara have 240 health, and they also have 50% pierce armor, which is a luxury that these spearmen do not have. Spearmen now attacking this dock, but since it finished, it's going to be much harder to take down, and this fishing boat has a small attack that it's going to use to peck away at these units. And the first... oh, never mind, he's actually not going to get a galley here. I think a galley would be a pretty strong move here. With all these spearmen on the map, you do want to be able to protect your dock. But the fishing boats can repair as well as having attack, so... yeah, so you can see this only slightly going down because of that repair. And now with 6 Sparabara, yeah, that's... it wouldn't be enough to take the fight against all the spearmen that were there initially, but with them attacking the dock, yeah, Lemmings holds this. And well and truly back in the game, and actually takes a pretty strong lead here. He's already got some fishing boats out, and all Adney has to show for his attack is a couple of spearmen. On the other hand, Adney did gather the resources to build a town centre, so although... oh my god, he has so many villagers queued up right now. Yeah, although he didn't actually get these fishing boats out, he will be booming with villagers. And if Lemmings doesn't prepare... he is building a galley now, so that's good. Yeah, you wouldn't want to just have the first boat come out and take down all these fishing ships that you spent all those resources on. That would be pretty sad. Okay, so the galley will come out here, and there actually isn't a swan ship in queue right now for the Celt player. Swan ships are pretty much the same as galleys and triremes, but they're just the Celtic take on the unit. Galley wasting a few shots on the dock here. It could be attacking these villagers and making them clear off. The accuracy of this galley coming into play here. They don't always hit small number of units. Their accuracy doesn't matter too much against boats, but against like single or small groups of units, they often just miss entirely. But now that he sees that Adney is building a dock there, has a swan ship coming out, he's actually going up to 2 docks and keeping up with his galley production, so that's a good move from him. He is a bit house blocked right now, but that's going to be fixed pretty shortly. So Adney now taking resources all over the map, basically. Whereas Lemmings is more confined to his base, and that's just by virtue of having these spearmen that are really quite fast. So on water here, we've got the boat advantages with Lemmings right now. Swan ship getting chased around, but it looks like he might take down one galley, which isn't quite an even trade because galleys cost more than swan ships. But if you can take an even trade when you're behind in ship count, that's, you know, probably about as good as you'll get. And it's really hard to trade it evenly when you're behind. So Adney keeping up, Lemmings keeping up the pressure here with these boats. And he will take down a swan ship there, and this one's almost dead as well. This is looking like a disaster on water here for Adney, and Lemmings is going to keep his advantage, going age 3 as well. That's pretty nice. Okay, swan ship comes out here. We'll see if it can actually take down a galley before going down itself. Swan ships are stronger than galleys, but also quite a lot more expensive. And that swan ship just joined the fight and immediately got executed. And yeah, Lemmings now dominates the water with 4 boats and only 1 dock on Adney's side. Building these swan ships is really risky to keep going on with. They cost 300 resources each, and Lemmings is actually going to be able to get out a ram ship when he gets to age 3. And ram ships are probably the most effective anti-ship age 3 boat. They do have to come into melee range, but unlike fire ships, you can't just dodge the projectiles, because there aren't no projectiles. That's the best way to dodge a projectile, is just have it not exist. So he did manage to save a swan ship, get out of the way. Oh, both of these are pretty injured. And, with Age 3 finishing for Lemmings now, with 1 or 2 ram ships, he's just going to completely own the water, and he's not going to have a dock for much longer. He might be able to do a little bit of damage to these fishing ships, but the long-term water advantage is definitely going to be on Lemmings' side here. Adney transitioning to a lot of military buildings here. Looks like he's going to be going for a fast attack to try and stop Lemmings consolidating this water advantage. But it's going to be rough. So, as we've mentioned in quite a few series in this tournament, the boats here on the shore give you a really good, like a lot of map control, because these units, because they're walking so close to the water, they're just being hit. So if they want to avoid that, and he's going to have to rally them like over here or something, and manually walk all the way around, and that is just adds a lot of work and a lot of time to the rush distance. So if you think of the amount of time it would take Lemmings to move his army from here to here, and then the amount of time that it would take Adney to go all the way around the edge of the map, it actually makes it yeah, pretty difficult to move out. And if you ever take a fight like around here, the side with the water advantage can just sort of retreat back to their boats and make it really hard to rout a retreating army. So the first few units coming in here for Adney. Lemmings does have a very compact base though, so it looks like he's not going to get anything major done here. Goes in, gets some hits on the villager here, but with the help of the Persian aid tent tech, which gives 10 HP regen a second to a nearby unit. Not going to really lose anything there. Adney bleeding out a few units here and just not able to get anything done. There's just nothing really exposed here. This wood line might be the best bet, but even that's kind of covered by the ship. And with these Aspar's champion even, they're just going to clean up that force pretty handily, and puts Lemmings in a commanding spot in this game. So yeah, the aggression for Adney has kind of failed here. Got the TC going up for Lemmings, third TC going up as well. Third TC also going up for Adney, but with the the land situation is sort of even for both players right now, and the war situation is all in Lemmings' favour. If we do a villager count here, we've got a big advantage for Adney, but these 4 fishing boats are going to do a lot of work to help even that up a little bit. But for in the short term, Adney does have that big villager advantage, so we'll see if he can get anything done with those extra resources. Right now, his army deficit is pretty huge. It's a really odd army though. Only melee units here from Lemmings. But yeah, there's just not enough units here to do anything about it. The nice thing about this army composition is that these slingers are going to do absolutely nothing, and the bowmen not much either. So a pretty interesting strategy from Lemmings here to go for 0 archery ranges. Against that really small army of Adney, it's working out pretty well. So Lemmings is ahead about 10 pop right now, but that doesn't tell the whole story, because of Adney having an extra 10 pop tied up in villagers. I suppose actually there's like a lot of pop tied up in galleys as well. So I wonder where the pop actually is for Adney. It's just in his queue. Either way, he's increasing his... Lemmings is increasing that lead right here. I think just with so much stuff in his queue. But yeah, he needs more production to make use of those resources. With almost 70 villager economy here, having 3 military buildings is just not going to cut it. He had 4 set. Yeah, the army of Lemmings, like, these units are all so tanky, Sparabara and Aspara. But the spearmen are actually doing a lot of work here. Spearmen actually do pretty well against this composition, especially if there's a few swordsmen in here to take down Sparabara. These are not the units you want to use to chase down Aspara. Okay, so the Celts are cleaning up this attack here. This is really weird, Mounted Archer. It's an odd choice against slingers, especially when there's no cavalry in the Celt army. Lemming's just building a barracks right next to the base of I think there. That's quite funny. So here we see that coming into play here. Being able to retreat to the water and have your galleys protect your units is really nice. And some free hits going off from the galleys here on these units. Okay, so Adney's going for a fortress here, which is not just going to defend his base, but it might also facilitate taking back the water slowly. So if this fortress can hit these units, then next Adney can maybe build a fort like here or something, and then eventually build a dock and get back on the water. That is going to be a big ask though, with ram ships able to be trained by Lemmings whenever he wants. So Lemmings has pretty much established this area under his control. A couple of barracks to get fast reinforcements. But with this fortress, he's not going to be able to attack it either. If we look up over here, there's a bit of a raid going on. So the Mounted Archers, one nice thing about them is that they can kill spearmen. But they're not going to be very effective against the actual composition of Adney here. So, like we usually see on Coastal, the side without the water has a really, really uphill battle to just get back into this game. So Lemming's going for a pretty interesting composition here. Stable units and Sparabara only. Still not getting any ranged units there, apart from a couple of Mounted Archers. And Adney moves out with a pretty small army, and it's going to be really hard for this to actually do any damage. Because of this really nicely placed TC here from Lemmings. So these villagers can just run back or garrison, and they can send some units to clear that up. Some rams going down for Adney, so maybe he's going to be trying to retake this area and take down these barracks, or he may be looking to do a counter-attack and knock down a TC with them. So as I said, the villagers just garrison. Aid tent does some work, and the units don't get achieved very much. And now Lemmings is going to look to trap this army. It's not a huge army, so it's not the end of the world if it gets trapped, but you know, that's a good few hundred resources there, and definitely don't want to lose it for free. Triple armory going down for Lemmings. That's a lot of armory. But they do say that 9 women can't make a baby in a month. So, although he'll get more upgrades, each upgrade is still going to take a long time. So Lemming's going in for a bit of an attack here. There's not really that much of note here. There's a few villagers, but mainly just a fort. I think he could have come around here and attacked from this side. A bit better. Yeah, he's just attacking his fort, and there's so many villagers repairing it. So he's going to try and pick up some villagers now by the looks of it. So though, Adney's going to be pretty cost effective here. Fort costs 700 resources, and you can bet it's killed a lot more than that by the time this fight's over. Especially if it's targeting down Mounted Archers, that's pretty expensive. Looks like they're taking down Aspars now. Yeah, the fort still has a lot of health left. And they did lose some villagers there, but he's still at 87. So you can throw away villagers in this stage of the game. And yeah, Lemming's losing a lot of his army there. Adney does not have that much of an army though. This is just a mistake. You can't be building your production buildings in range of those galleys. That's not going to work out. But yeah, Lemming has just stood in his fort for so long, and yeah, these things have 83 pierced DPS. They're just going to melt an army really quickly. And so Adney now has a little bit of time to regroup. Wow, he has a big base over here. Last I checked, it was just his TC. He's building these military buildings in really odd places, though. I don't know why you would even want to build it next to the galleys. I guess he's just got a lot on his mind right now. Some wood raiders coming out for Adney. It's quite funny because there's actually no ranged units from the Celt player here. This is really odd from him. He's not going for any immortal camps, which would be insanely good against this composition of Celts. Immortals are one of the best Persian units. I really don't see why you wouldn't want to build them against a civ that mainly builds infantry. Okay, now there's enough production here. All these longswords are going to be popping in. There's a lot of galleys able to support from the water now. Interestingly though, now that these galleys aren't spread around the edge of the coast, Adney could do something tricky here and just like make a whole bunch of docks. And make use of this big stockpile he's got of wood and gold. And if he just, stockpiles like 5 or 6 ships and just comes and takes down these injured galleys, they can just take out these fishing boats and defend his base with ships instead of the other way around. That'd be pretty interesting. Still has to avoid these barracks though. Okay, so first couple of battering rams coming in for Lemmings. He's going to be looking to take down this fort with it, I think. He wants to support these big units though. And he's so aggressive, just coming in with barely any units here. He's got a lot of population, but 41 population of that is not on the field right now, whereas all 180 of Lemmings is actually on the field. And we're going to see that reflected in these fights. He's getting absolutely crushed. Yeah, I mean, Adney has enough of a bank that he has 56 population in production. I mean, at this point he does now have a lot of production buildings, but earlier in the game he definitely needed to get those up so that he would have the army that his economy could actually support. But now he is, now that he's got these military buildings, he is pumping out a lot of units. He's able to hold that with the help of this fort. And yeah, it's still staying in this game, and he's actually going to be up at 108 population along with Lemmings. Although Lemmings is going age 4, so the uphill battle is not yet over. The really scary thing about age 4 right now is that Lemmings is going to be able to get these mangonel galleys, which is a catapult ship that can just go ahead and probably hit this fortress and see. They have really long range. Big force of Asabars coming in here for Lemming. He's going to take out some of these reinforcements and hopefully track down some villagers if he can. It takes out a few reinforcements, but it looks like this attack from Adney is going to make him think twice and come back home. And now this is actually an interesting moment in the game, because with 6 galleys, this is 18 population, which means that Adney is actually going to have a theoretically larger army on the ground. And if he can keep snowballing fights, that's going to be his probably best way to get into this game again. And actually take it. And it is actually going pretty well for him right now. He is managing to push through here. And this only stable composition, mainly from Lemmings, is actually costing him. So these units are fast, but they're not particularly great in a straight fight. Asabars are, pretty tanky units, but 2 pop and 120 cost. They're still going to be beaten for cost effectiveness by single pop units in general. Unless, of course, they're attacking archers. Meanwhile, Adney's putting in a few little forces here. They're going to get cleaned up, but this does displace like 20 pop of Lemmings' army. And It's letting Adney continue to push here. It's got a lot of ranged units supported by a few spearmen. So Lemmings is age 4, but he's not really making too much use of this advantage yet. I'd really like to see him pop out a couple of mangonel galleys, which could support his army, as well as take down some of these buildings here for Adney. And I would... wow, just walk right into the last part of it. And I would also really like to see him get some war wagons, which is a pierce damage siege unit. There's a slight amount of area damage and a lot of pierce armor. Adney's army getting taken down there. He does have a big bank, so he is able to rebuild that, and got a decent amount of production facilities to do it in a reasonable amount of time. Looks like he's building a force over here, and he's going to start clearing out this side of the map. But he will be stopped cold by that fort unless he gets some rams. In the meantime, a really big army coming in for the Lemmings, and it's going to be really tricky for Adney to hold on here. The fort is going to do a lot of work here, but all these units do have pierce resist. A big group of Asabaras split off to take down this attacking force, but there are 7 spearmen in this force, so he can't really just fight it head on. Even though he's got 15 Asabaras, it's really not going to be cost effective for him. I think it would be a good idea for him to build a couple of walls here, just to prevent this kind of thing happening. Yeah, he's got a market line up now. That's interesting. Yeah, this game very much still continuing. Yeah, if Adney can get to age 4 and catch up in tech and things like that, he could very much be in with a chance. And if Lemmings can make use of his age 4 advantage before that happens, then you might see him take down the game as well. Still no mangonel galleys yet, which is really odd. That would be the first thing I would do. Adney now going age 4, so yeah, the game continues. Solid sized army here. Really interesting composition from a Persian player throughout this whole game. Just going for almost all melee units. And now we've got this spore wagon popping out, which is going to be really effective against all these ranged units. He's going to have to be really careful. Alone, this thing is not going to do very well, because it's just going to die to some of these melee units, these spearmen. He really wanted to have that supported by this army. So imagine if the war wagon was here instead, and only the ranged units could shoot it, it would have been a whole different story. And yeah, Lemming's just kind of walking right into this place and just getting crushed by all these ranged units in this fort. I mean, there's still some Sparbar left alive, but Sparbar don't do damage, so... I mean, they literally do damage, but they figuratively don't. Okay, more war wagons here, and maybe Lemmings will be a bit more patient. Did he just kill a few of those galleys off? May have done that. That's interesting that Adney has 175 pop. Does that mean that there was an attack in here, killing a house? Might be. This is really tricky here. Lemming's just trying to build this fort in line of sight of these villagers of Adney, and that's not going to work. Adney is on the ball enough to stop that happening. Yeah, and somehow Adney's still managing to make this a game, even though now there are mangonel galleys now. And this game is going to get a lot harder for Adney, as stuff like his fort and houses and like buildings are just going to be picked off. And also these war wagons are really effective. Some wood raiders could easily snipe these if Adney can get a few of those out. So this fort, just about to go down, is being repaired a little bit, but only by like one villager. And there it goes. And with that, I think we're going to see this army from Lemming start really pushing in and making its presence felt in this farming area. Meanwhile, it's Adney that's actually going to be putting down the fort here. Looks like he's wanting to claim that gold mine for himself. It's not going to be permanent because the mangonel guys can just take it down. But it does take time off them. And yeah, the game is really slipping away from Adney now with those mangonel guys taking down his production, taking down his houses, taking down his economy. It's going to be really rough. And he doesn't really have an answer to these warlands. If he had some wood raiders, he could snipe these pretty easily. There's not really anything in Lemmings' army that kills wood raiders all that effectively. He's actually getting champions. It's a pretty odd choice, but yeah, champions are a pretty cool unit. They should be pretty effective against the Asabaras and especially the Sparabaras. Not so good against the war wagons, so if you can support them with a few woads, then maybe that's the composition that he needs here. I mean, although I'm saying that, you know, these mangonel guys are just totally destroying Adney right now, he is still 170 pop. So he does have resources, he can continue this fight for a bit longer. Now we see the champions coming here. It's a shame he doesn't have better gear on them. They look really cool when they've got some top tier gear. But actually it's cataphracts in the army for Lemmings which are going to totally crushing the champions. The Asabar are going to go down pretty easily, but the cataphracts have just a ton of health there. It's 900 might. That's pretty good. All these war wagons just waiting to get killed by woads, but just none of them coming out. And I think we will just see Adney just ground down by Lemmings' mangonels here. I still think it'd be a good idea for him to put up a couple of docks just around here and try and take these down. Some of the champions do manage to get in and take down one war wagon, but that's really not that cost effective. These things are expensive. Actually, they're not as expensive as I thought. They only cost 100. I thought they were like 120 or 130 or something. Been quite a while since I played Celts, and a lot longer since I actually built champions. I think they got a buff to 5.5 speed from 5. That 5 speed was always a big downer with champions because the rest of Celts are so much faster. Yeah, and they just not with the army size to kill this anymore. After throwing away so many units over all that time, he's now gotten to this point where he's just kind of being bled out. He doesn't have that much economy in his main base, and all these farms, now that they're no longer, a lot of them are dead or unable to gather, and yeah, he's gonna GG out that game. But that was actually a pretty good game, considering he was never really in contention for the war, so to actually keep the game going for half an hour, and at some points looked like he might be able to push through into Lemmings' base. That was pretty impressive. So nice game there from both players, and that will be 1-0 up for Lemmings. Well played. So we're gonna go back and get ready for the next game. So we're just going to have a quick break between these games. Lemming says he will be right back. So I'm just going to put down a timer for a couple of minutes. And just waiting on Adney choosing the map and things. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Okay, so Adney chooses the map for the second game of the series since he lost the first one, and he has chosen Arabia, and Lemmings has decided not to veto Arabia. And we're going to see a Greek mirror. Okay, so game 2 on Arabia. Let's get started. Okay, so here we are in game 2 of the series. So both players are playing Greeks this time. We're on Arabia, which is the biggest 1v1 map in the pool. You can see the rush distance here is absolutely huge. And both players just gathering on some berries to start with. Looks like Anthony was thinking of scouting out some hunts and switching to that because he's not built a storehouse on here yet. Whereas Lemmings doesn't even bother to check for hunts, which is probably quite smart, this map. If you do find hunts, a lot of the time it's like elephants or hippos, and it's just not really worth killing those this early in the game. So it's much safer just to go on berries. And this doubles as a nice stone storehouse, although I don't think there's any gap between that. So it's not an ideal stone storehouse, but probably still better than nothing. Andy with a bit of a gap here. You don't really want to leave a gap with berry bushes, unlike other resources, because the first layer of the berries will get worn away, and that will create room layer. So although this will start out being better, it's going to rapidly lose its effectiveness as these bushes get used up. Okay, so he's just going to be gathering on stone as well. So both players just going to be going for that fast TC. So it looks like Adney did eventually scout some hunts. Yeah, there's a lot of walking time here though. I don't think it's going to be worth it in the end. At this stage in the game, you can't really afford to have this many villagers walking around for like, 30 seconds or so to reach that. And in the meantime, he's just not going to be building any villagers. So I think he should just stayed on the storehouse. Berries aren't great, but with the Picker's Gloves upgrade, it ends up not being that bad. And yeah, he has to even transition villagers back onto the berries just to try and get that villager production going again. Not a nice opening here for Adney, whereas Lemmings is just going as normal, getting that age 2, and as soon as that finishes, he'll be dropping his TC. So both players just kind of scouting around. It's not really clear. So it looks like Adney's just scouting out his whole sort of plateau there, finding out where all his resource patches are going to be. Lemmy's like roaming the map a bit more. Yeah, so we can just see how much of a disaster this opening was for Adney. He's still a long way from getting age 2. Actually, if he cancels these 2 villagers, he can just go age 2. But he just queued up 2 more. Yeah, he probably just wants to cancel these and go age 2 and transition these villagers over to the stone mine again. TC going down for Lemmings. That's a pretty interesting position. He's gonna get access to this hunt, but hunts are pretty temporary. I tend to like building my TCs on gold mines, since generally that's where they're going to be the most contested resources, but this will probably prevent him having to go on farms for a bit longer, which saves you a lot of money in the short term. It's interesting that Adney left a space between his storehouse and the berries, but not between the storehouse and the stone mine. Adney now going age 2. If he's watching the replays of this layer, I think an area he could improve is not queuing quite as many units at a time. Lemming's already with his TC up, and Adney overgathering stone. This is a bit sloppy here from Adney. He's actually going to be way over 100 resources overgathered. I do hope he notices before the mine runs out. I mean, he will find out when the mine runs out and they become idle, but until then, he's over 600 now. Oh man. I don't think he's going to look back with too much pride on the start of this game. At one point he had like 500 wood gathered, and now he's on like 700 stone. Jesus. Okay, so he's on 17 villagers to Lemming's 24. And he's not going to be on double production of villagers for another minute or so yet. Well, Lemming's putting down that stable, and he's not really going to be in time to contest this town centre, I don't think, but if he gets into this wood line before he gets any units out, could do a bit of damage there. Second stable going down, so we're just going to see a lot of saris. I quite like that. Since Greeks don't have, camels or anything like that, and this stage in the game there's not going to be any major attacks, getting that map control with saris is a pretty good idea, especially on this map. And if the opponent goes saris, you can go h3 and get prods. So nothing else going down for Adney yet. I think he should probably try and get h3 quite fast, so that he can actually make use of this stone. Because right now he's just sitting here with like almost 400 resources that he just can't spend on anything. Man, he's built a stable with 9 villagers there. Probably excessive. Armory going down for Lemmings. I like it. Armory upgrades I think are quite undervalued in the game sometimes. But if you've got even just a couple of armory upgrades over your opponent, you basically make any fight just great for you. Unless your opponent has way more units or something. So Lemmings is coming in here, and he gets 1 villager here. Not going to get a second though, they just get garrisoned. And it will lose a Sari. Looks like the Sari might survive. And it does survive, but it's going to get hit by the TC, I think. I believe Saris, maybe they don't anymore. It's not listed there. But I believe they used to have like a hidden damage multiplier against other Saris. To stop Sari versus Sari fights just taking forever. I don't see it on there, but unless Saris themselves count as ranged, but I don't know. So Lemmings with the advantage in Sari count right now, just able to put a lot of pressure here. And he's putting up a tower to try and protect his villagers here, but it's going to be hard for him to get it down with all these Saris right in front of his base. Meanwhile, Adney's just way over gathering wood and gold right now. Doesn't really have any way to spend those because he doesn't have an archery range. Not that you'd want to build an archery range against pure Sari, but I'm not sure what he's going for in this game. You'd think he would put down maybe a barracks to try and deal with Sari raids or just more stables, but he's not really got anything. Is he trying to go h3? That would explain it, I guess. Yeah, I'm not really sure. Big villager advantage for Lemmings with this harassment he's been able to put on. Yeah, these Saris in his economy right now, taking down some villagers. Lemmings really dictating the pace of this game. More villagers going down. I mean, this tower and TC combined are making it quite expensive for Saris to stay in the space, but at this point, Lemmings has enough of an advantage in that he can kind of just throw away units for villagers and just keep training villagers of his own, and just keep extending that economy lead. Saris are really bad at taking down houses. You've got 18 pop of Saris and they're taking down less than half of a house there. Finally some barracks going down here from Adney. I think he could have done that a lot earlier, but it's still good that he's making them now. So Saris recently got nerfed to have a little bit less DPS and a little bit more multiplier against ranged, and that was just to prevent them from being too effective against spearmen. Adney just like running around in space with 20 villagers. It's really comical. Yeah, unfortunately there's so few spearmen that there's kind of a critical mass of Saris to just take them down without taking on too many losses. And there's yet more Saris over here in the second base of Adney, and yeah, Adney's just falling so far behind in population right now. He has less than half the population of lemmings, and all these villagers idle. Every second that all these villagers aren't working is a huge amount of resources wasted. He's got these really risky villagers out here as well. So far Lemmings hasn't noticed that, but that could just be game over entirely if he lost those. His queue is empties for some reason right now. He is now queuing up some units again. Prods coming out for Lemmings, and this might be the fatal blow here. They're gonna make really short work of these Saris. There's also some hoplites coming in. I think you should just be making spears when the opponent has all these cavalry units, but nonetheless, hoplites are kind of still doing really well against every unit that Adney is making right now. And I think we're past the point of no return. Lemmy's taking a commanding lead in this game, and he's already 1-0 up, so if he is able to take this game, then he will win the best of 3, and he'll advance to the next round. And this is the losers bracket, so Adney will be completely out of the tournament at that point. So he's fighting for his tournament life right now, and it might just be too late. He does now have a full queue of units. He's going to try and put on a defense here, but this town center is almost certainly going to go down here. If he's sending down a bunch of hypers, spearmen, but the numbers are just too high for Lemmings. These units aren't going to live long enough to do their job. So I think, you know, if he had any chance, it would be by building up a big enough army and then waiting for Lemmy to overcommit. But this is looking less and less like a game and more like a slaughter at this point. And Adney's had enough there. GG's out. And Lemmings takes the series 2-0. Nice play from him there. Not the best game ever from Adney in that second game there. Really kind of went off the rails very early on. Messed up his build a little bit going to that really far away hunt, and got the late TC, had some idle TC time when he had no food, and just fell really early behind in units, and now he's capitalised that perfectly. So alright, it was a pretty interesting series, and that's going to be all for today. So thanks for watching, everyone, and I think tomorrow there's going to be some more tournament games. I think these next ones are in the winners bracket, but I'll definitely check before the stream next time, and I might end up being streaming for that, or if no one else is going to take that. So I might see you guys tomorrow. So thanks for watching, everyone, and yeah, have a good day.